The Star of the Week, brought to you by the New Hampshire Tomahawks. Showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit nhtomahawks.com.
The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of scholastic club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Over the last 8 years, 59 of the 64 New Hampshire All-Americans were Tomahawk players. Are you looking to get recruited? Well, Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. The Tomahawks offer indoor leagues along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams as well. Play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks. Showcase and development for college lacrosse. Visit nhtomahawks.com. Let's bring him in. Our player of the week, Rob Hart of Keene State. Tearing stuff up out there in the Little East Conference, formerly of Londonderry High. Rob, good morning. Welcome to the show. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
How are things out at Keene State?
Things are going great. We just finished our regular season. We start playoffs next week. So things are going really well right now.
That seems like an up-and-coming program with a New Hampshire pipeline built in. Is that correct?
That is, yeah. We really come a long way these past couple of years. Program's really taken off lately. So, yeah, things are going well.
What got you over there in the first place?
So I am from New Hampshire, like you said earlier, and it was just an in-state school. They always had a decent program. I always knew kids who went there. And it was close enough to home where I could head home every weekend, but it was still far enough away where I still had the college feel to it. So, yeah, just from the start, it was just close enough, yet still perfect distance away, so I could have my space.
Again, our guest is Rob Hart, our New Hampshire Tomahawks Player of the Week.
Rob, Coach Cameron, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I saw your dad. He came down to say hello versus Londonderry BG game on Thursday night. Always good to see him. But whenever I see you or him, I can't not think of that all-time greatest New Hampshire Tomahawk goal. I'm sure you remember that. We're playing the Baltimore Crabs in the club championship, and Rob got the OT winner down there. You've always had a clutch for coming up with those big plays.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Of course I remember that play. That was awesome.
All-time biggest goal still stands. So you're at 46 goals and 21 assists if the Keene website's up to date. That's an incredible season, 67 points. You guys, it looks like you're going to face UMass Dartmouth in the semifinals.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, things are going well, actually. It's surprising how well they're going.
Good. So now looking at your schedule, you guys seem like you played the NESCAC, so Coach Terrio challenged you guys with a schedule that did you learn from that? I mean, you played Tufts at the time they were the number one team in the country. You scored 16 on them, 22-16. Did that tough schedule help you guys down the road?
Absolutely. Coach put in a tough schedule in the beginning just to get us ready, and really coming from the NESCACs to the LECs is like night and day. The NESCAC teams are just unbelievable, and then moving into LECs, not as great as competition as we had in the beginning of the year, so playing teams like Tufts and Bates was huge coming into LECs.
Hey. Mr. Hart, good morning. It's Coach Etler. How are you?
Good, Coach Etler. How are you?
Good. Thanks, man. Hey, so I'm looking at your attack line right now. You guys look pretty young down there. You've got Tyler McKelvey as a junior. Am I correct? Is Ryan Hart moved up to midfield? Did they move up to midfield now to get?
Yeah, Ryan Hart's a midfielder. Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you guys developed such a good chemistry together, being so young? And what is Ryan now playing at the midfield give you? I mean, I consider him to be next to you, one of the all-time best attackmen we've ever had in the Tomahawk program, even though he was only here for 1 year. How's that chemistry come together for you guys?
Really, it starts off the field. We're all really close friends off the field. We're always hanging out after practice and whatnot, and it really just leads to onto the field. We're always really good friends, so we have really good chemistry when it comes to onto the field. So it really just starts with being friends off the field.
Nice. You've got some other New Hampshire brothers there. You got Ryan Askham, Jake Ganesk. How have the younger guys, from New Hampshire, how have they sort of stepped in and been able to help the team? Even in you've got Matt Howe in goal. How have some of those guys, Mike Wiedenfield, how have those guys been able to help?
They stepped up huge. Jake Ganesk always comes through big as a freshman. right off the bench. And Ryan Askham, I think he's one of the best defensive middies we have. And Mike it's been tough for him just because he had his knee surgery last year. So, but everyone's just been able to step up. And Matty Howe has been playing great lately. He's definitely going to get his time. It's just tough to get him in with such a good goalie like Dylan Florian.
Where is he on the depth chart right now for you?
He's like second or third. He's either the second or third goalie to go in.
There's a big jump for goalies to go from high school and right into, especially on a team as talented as you guys and the schedule as hard as you're playing. So I look for big things for Matt down the road.
How does the NCAA tournament work for you, Rob? Tell us a little bit of how the D3 NCAA tournament works.
Well, we what it's looking like right now, what I've heard, I think we might have Bates first round. So we played them earlier on this year. And I honestly think that if we play 4 quarters of lacrosse, we could play with any team in the country. It's just the fact of finishing a game and playing it from start to finish.
How's your defense evolved over this year? You know, in the beginning of the season, you guys were giving up big goals, big numbers, but now it seems like over the last few weeks, you guys have really evolved. How do you feel like your defense has come along? Is that started at the face-off X? Has the defense just sort of tightened things up? How do you feel that's evolved over the season?
Well, losing Zach Tully, who is also a New Hampshire kid from Pinkerton, losing him this year was huge. We knew that was going to be a big spot to fill. And earlier on in the year, we didn't really get it. Like, no one really could fill his shoes, but we really just started to clean it up on defense and just tighten things up. So it was just a matter of filling Zach Tully's shoes because he was just such a big spot to fill on defense.
We're gonna be talking to Coach Bishop a little bit later this morning. How's he been able to help you guys over there this year?
Oh, he's been awesome. We've never really had a goalie coach for these past couple of years, so having him there was huge in the beginning of the season. And I knew all the guys liked him. He came in. He was friends with all of us. Everyone loved him. It was huge having him.
Again, our guest, Rob Hart, our New Hampshire Tomahawks Player of the Week. Keene State and the Owls getting set for tournament play in the Little East Conference. What about after school ends? I know it can seem like a long way off at this point, but what are your plans for the future beyond lacrosse?
Well, I'm a safety major at Keene State, so I could be working with something like OSHA. But if that doesn't really work out for me, I was planning on working with my dad. He owns a mortgage company. So I was planning on working with him and the rest of my family. Good stuff.
We appreciate the time this morning, Rob, and good luck moving forward.
All right, I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me, and good luck in the rest of the year.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
603-883-9900. It's nice of him to wish us luck. You
I think he was wishing that.
You don't get that too often, but we'll take it. Seems like a bright young man, and obviously one heck of a lacrosse player.
Yeah, he was. He went there to play soccer and lacrosse. That was one of the he had some good D1 options to choose from, but he wanted to go to a place where he could possibly play both soccer and lacrosse. But he played soccer only for a year, and then he switched over to just lacrosse. And then the numbers he's putting up, he's a prolific scorer, and that's just what he does. He just puts points on the board. And from his freshman year, the minute he stepped on the field, he's been putting up big numbers. And it's interesting because they did challenge themselves with those NESCAC games. The NESCAC teams are just, for people that don't know, it's Tufts and Bates and Williams and Middlebury. They're just a notch above. So they played some of those teams tight. So I think that certainly could help them in the NCAA tournament. You know, it's interesting that
getting the automatic bid, I think, helps too, though. You can do that early in the season, knowing that you can take those losses, learn from them, but then still meet your end of the season goals.
Right. And again, it seems like there are a lot of New Hampshire-bred players on that roster. We could say that about a lot of schools, I suppose, at this point. But I think Keene has really pounced on the opportunity to take advantage of that talent in their backyard.
So with Coach Bishop, we talked about that later. We're going to have him on later in the program. He is their recruiting coordinator because he runs the defense until his season starts. So he's a busy man. He's one of the hardest working coaches out there. So because he's at all the Tomahawk tournaments all summer, so he's coaching his team, but he's also recruiting for Keene State, and then he works with the D and the goalies up until the Sabre season starts in late March.
And that's what Coach Terrio had him on originally as. They've really embraced the role of having a recruiting coordinator. I mean, before he was even working with goalies and other things. That was his big role out there. So,
well, again, you're listening to FNL Lacrosse here on ESPN New Hampshire. We are presented by the Nashua Sports Academy. Coming up, Derryfield's own Michael Chasen gets grilled by his head coach live on the air. That is next. Don't go away. Keep it right here. It's ESPN New Hampshire. It's online at espnnhradio.com.